Flight cancellations have ruined people's holidays this summer, and probably yours too. Surprisingly, it is some of the most renowned airlines that have canceled most of the flights, and you are going to discover them in this video. Number 10. Lufthansa. Initially, the Lufthansa crew members were hit by a severe COVID wave, leading to the cancellation of 3,100 flights due to crew shortages. Earlier in July, the company announced that it needed to scrap another 2,000 flights until the end of August due to chaos in the European airports. On top of that, the airline's ground personnel decided to fight their employer with a strike on the 27th of July due to the low salaries. This led to an additional 1,000 flights getting canceled all over Europe. The truth is that people want to fly, and the airline cannot ensure seat availability for everyone. This led to another 800 flights being canceled, triggering a spark in ticket prices, even with the cheapest Frankfurt to London flights costing over €1,000. Number 9. British Airways. The UK's flag carrier has been scrapping flights all over the year. In fact, from April until October 2022, the company is planning to have over 30,000 flights canceled. Just imagine that this is potentially over 500,000 passengers impacted by these cancellations. I'm wondering why airlines keep selling tickets when they aren't sure they're going to have the capacity to ensure that flight. The only merit British Airways truly has is that it canceled many of its flights months in advance after seeing what a disaster it was during the Easter holidays. In response to the recent London Heathrow Airport cap of 100,000 daily passengers, British Airways decided to cancel many of its European flights until the end of the summer. Number 8. KLM. The flight cancellations of the Dutch carrier have put it under fire this year. It mainly canceled flights because of the staff shortages at its main hub, Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. The airline is planning to cancel between 10 and 20 European destination flights per day until the end of August to reduce delays and further disruptions. In June, the airline was so overwhelmed that it was forced to stop selling tickets for some days to reduce the incoming flow of passengers at the airport, where hour-long queues were building even outside the terminals due to staff shortage. On some other flights, KLM was even flying from Amsterdam with passengers, but it was coming back to Schiphol empty with any passengers. How crazy does that sound? Number 7. United Airlines. Although not making a disaster as it is one of the best performers on this list, United has canceled so far about 2.3% of its flights. This represents almost 9,000 flights out of 370,000 initially scheduled. The company decided to cancel about 50 domestic flights from Newark, New Jersey, which is 12% of its schedule from this airport. Other than this, the airline is planning to reduce its schedule in the third quarter by 11% from the same quarter in 2019. This is going to undoubtedly impact even more United customers and lead to more discomfort. Number 6. EasyJet. Between July and September, EasyJet is expected to cancel a total of 10,000 flights. From a statistical point of view, the British low-cost carrier is said to cancel 1 in 20 of its flights. Amid this chaos, EasyJet's chief executive officer has resigned from its position. The main reason for EasyJet's cancellation is also the staff shortages at its main airports, including London Gatwick. The airport failed to recruit enough personnel for this summer ramp-up season, keeping the aircraft very delayed or simply on the ground. Number 5. JetBlue Airways. The new acquirer of Spirit Airlines has been criticized a lot by its customers this year. It has among the highest cancellation rate with a staggering 4.5%. In fact, out of 170,000 flights, the budget carrier has canceled 7,500 of them. Before the summer, it also suspended several routes, such as the long-awaited Boston to Vancouver flight, and postponed it to the after-summer season to reduce disruptions. JetBlue blames these adjustments based on the rising fuel prices and to ensure a reliable schedule throughout the summer, which it actually failed to provide. All this is in addition to the April meltdown where the company has canceled and stranded thousands of passengers, once again blaming exterior factors such as bad weather and crew shortages. Number 4. SAS. The Scandinavian airline is also under the spotlight as a flight cancellation star this year. The reason why SAS is not doing very well and has even filed for U.S. bankruptcy protection recently is because of its shady labor practices and social dumping procedures. In fact, during the pandemic, the airline laid off many of its pilots. Now that the company needs them back, it took them back but under different salaries, benefits, and conditions from their colleagues that haven't been laid off. This is something we would expect from a low-cost, not the Swedish flag carrier. As a result, almost all SAS pilots went on strike to raise their voices, leading to the cancellation of 50% of its flights, with nearly 30,000 passengers impacted daily. Number 3. American Airlines. American Airlines customers suffered a lot from the mismanagement of the company for the summer 2022 schedule. Like many airlines on this list, it has also sold way too many tickets than what the company can provide. So far, out of the 515,801 flights this year, the company has canceled a little more than 17,000 of them. This is roughly 3.3% of their initial flight schedule canceled. In early August, the airline announced it needs to cancel some other 1,200 flights to avoid further disruptions. This is an outrageous number of cancellations, and passengers should be compensated for this inconvenience. Number 2. Southwest Airlines. Southwest isn't doing that bad in comparison to other U.S. competitors. In fact, the company has canceled so far about 16,000 flights. You might think that's a huge number, which it somehow is, but this only represents 2.5% of the initial flight schedule of 630,000 flights. In June, the airline made its passengers' life a nightmare, as in one day they canceled 650 flights, which is nearly 1 in 5 flights being scrapped. The day before, the airline has canceled some other 534 flights, which represented 17% of that day's flights. In total, the airlines canceled almost 1,200 flights in 2 days, which is more than any U.S. airline. During the above-described day, the company accounted for nearly 1/3 of the total flights canceled in the U.S. Number 1. Republic Airways. This 50-year-old leading regional U.S. airline has been one of the most, if not the worst performer of 2022. It has canceled 5.7% of its total scheduled flights, which is about 10,100 flights. 10,000 flights doesn't seem too many in comparison to the other mentioned airlines. However, almost 6% of canceled flights are a ton of canceled flights. The regional airline is operating flights for American Eagle, Delta Connection, and United Express, and all the flight cancellations have impacted all of these airlines' passengers. A major factor impacting Republic Airways is the lack of flight crew that is running away to the majors that started intense recruiting to deal with their own crew shortage. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the comments section down below.